Okay, thank you. And our apologies for the late start. So we'll hopefully make up as we go along. As DMC said, we'll be uh, cutting short a little bit, but we hope to have the full program completed today by 5 o'clock. Um, so I hope you will cooperate with us, especially lunchtime. We want to have a half-hour lunch. So make sure 1:30 to 2 we come back again. Because we'll be going through some proposals which we need to make some come to some agreements and some recommendations. With this session, which is bringing Buddha Dhamma to popular culture, this is area I have been very much interested in, though I am not an artist. Uh, but my PhD was looking at how Indonesia and Malaysia countered the threat from MTV. And now I think the Buddhist communities also have a similar problem, which we will discuss in this panel and later on also in the afternoon. Because some of you may know Annie Choing Droma, Nepalese nun, Buddhist nun, who's also become an icon in the world music industry today. Some may not agree with what she does, but I have been very impressed with the way she has presented Buddhism. I met her for the first time in 2014 when she performed at the Esplanade in Singapore. I interviewed her in the article, but what I saw there was now in her concerts, the music chanting is very attractive to listen to, but most audience didn't understand Nepali or Tibetan. But she spent about 1 minute to 3 minutes before every song explaining the lyrics in English. And at the end of the about the 2 hour show, she has really given a Buddhist sermon. And she performed to a full house at the Esplanade, and most were not Buddhist. So I thought it was uh, a very interesting and a nice way of putting the Buddhist message across without being intimidating. And at one stage, now she had these written notes, and then she found she didn't have the notes for one song. Then she had a percussionist and a guitarist. So she asked the percussionist to go to the dressing room, and get her iPad. And she sang off the iPad like this. And I heard at the end of the show some young people saying, "Oh, what a cool nun she is, singing off the iPad." I don't know if it was part of her act or not, but message went through that she's a cool nun, and the message was cool as a result of it. So let's go into our panelists, and I'm sure they will have some ideas on that. First is Reverend Nareshman Bajaracharya, Bajaracharya, who is Vice Chancellor of the Lumbini Buddhist University from Nepal. Yeah.
Sarvabuddham namashyami dharmancha jinavasitam sanghancha sila sampannam ratnatrayam namastute. First of all, I would like to bow to the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha, and please accept my namaskar to all of you. Can you say namaskar? Namaskar. Namo Buddhaya also? Okay. I think now you are very free from the traffic jam, and you might have a cup of tea also. Now you are all are fresh. In fact, we were waiting you from last 2 hours. You are waiting outside, but we are waiting inside. But our stay is so nice. We were talking with our friends. It was a nice moment. The main theme of this whole conference is already displayed here. The Asian Buddhist Media Conclave, Mindful Communication for Conflict Avoidance and Sustainable Development. And particularly this morning session is focused on the bringing Buddhism or Buddha Dharma to popular culture. This term, popular culture, really it took time to understand me. Uh, when we go through the word popular culture, firstly, just I get a meaning. Okay, popular culture. Maybe we can talk about the popular culture of Nepal, the popular culture of Sri Lanka, and so on and so. But when we search in the Google, so it has very different meaning. It's a popular culture in the context of the modern age, especially in the 21st century, and it's a smart age. So it has a different meaning I found. And thanks for the organizer because you coined such a word. That's why we have to go through the Google search and we got the meaning of this popular culture. Let's just begin with this theme. So, what is the popular culture? Also, here I tried to ask and interact with a few people. Also, they were also thinking like what I was thinking. Popular culture means this and that. But also, I tried to let them know it's a very new concept. Not exactly new, but it is started from 20th century, and now we are in 21st century. But the meaning of this popular culture has been changing time to time. Now, at present, in this context, especially in the context of bringing Buddhism or bringing Buddha Dharma to popular culture, here the popular culture stands that a culture now which has been using by the new generation. When I say new generation, our Professor Lau say, "Oh, I don't know this." He wants himself to be put on the world generation, but I'm bringing you to the modern generation because you are using that kind of device, which is modern product. So this modern culture, in this context, especially this theme, it concerned with the such type of device, such type of equipments, no, which we are using in our daily life. Sometimes without that we cannot live. If suppose if you left behind your mobile to the hotel, you may say, "Oh, I'm gone. I lost the biggest thing because I forgot to bring my mobile. Now I lost. What shall I do?" So you may be restless for whole day. So this is the now modern culture. We are using this modern device, electronics device. Here I would like to say a little bit more about what other people say about this popular culture. So in one place I found the one statement, small theory about the popular culture, which also I accepted. Okay, it is fine. Also, I tried to add something more in that theory. Is that it says that the popular culture, it is all about the influence and interaction. And I would like to add more that engagement. The popular culture, it is is influence. It is all about the influence, and also it is all about the interaction, and also it is about the engagement. Here, in this context, I want to say in another word. So, popular culture, it is the electronic media, and which is used by the mass. So that is called the popular culture nowadays that I learned from the Google search. For example, there may be several examples of the popular culture widely spread in this era, and we are using. Out of that, I would like to give you an example of the popular culture is that using a smartphone. We all are using a smartphone in such a way. I have already given you example. If you forget to take your mobile with you now, you might have say your friend, "Oh, I'm lost now. Today, what I shall do? So many things I have to cover so many things, but I forget my mobile. So now this is a disaster day for me." See, the smartphone we all are using. So that is a kind of one of the popular culture of this era, and also we are using the social medias. From the early in the morning, you might have checked out your message. When you wake up, you may not say Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharma. You firstly you jump on your mobile and you check out your messengers, your message. So this see that we are starting our day not with the saying Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharma. Mostly, okay, I'm not just blaming all of you. myself, okay, this morning, first of all, I jumped to my mobile and I checked my message. So this is the now culture is now we are adopting, we are using. So and we check the several social medias, such as here also you can see the pictures given there, the Facebook, YouTube, and the Twitters, Instagram, so and so. These are the social medias now which has been using by the not only teenage people, not only youth, including me and yourself. So we are using this kind of medias, social medias, and the smartphone as a part of our popular culture. So comparatively, this smartphone is more widely used than the TV and the radio. Nowadays, we don't wait for the TV to listen to watch the news because TV broadcasts news periodically. Okay, morning 8 and 2 p.m. and maybe 8 p.m. But we don't watch, we don't wait for that kind of media nowadays. Directly, we switch on our mobile and try to get information from our smartphone. Similarly, we don't wait opening the using the laptop. We don't want to wait and on the laptop and just we click on our mobile and check our emails. So these are the popular culture which has been taking place in our mind, in our body, and in our whole action. Here you will see the influence of smartphone in our daily life. Everybody influenced by smartphone. Similarly, there we see the interaction. So we are using smartphone such a way every minute. So we are interacting with someone through the smartphone using the different social medias. So this is interaction. Also, we all are engaged. For now, also we can see someone handling mobile, maybe listening to me also. So that kind of engagement with the mobile, smartphone. So people became multi-task and multi-dynamic. One year give to a speaker, and another year maybe using your smartphone and engaging. So that popular culture is another way we have to we can understand it. Keep us in being engaged. So this is the popular culture. Say the popular culture, and this kind of concept developed from the West, and Westerners coined this word, and they have plenty of materials now we have been posted in Google, and you can find out this kind of meaning. Now we talk about the Buddhism. Let's a few minutes, and no need to say about the the significance of Buddhism, importance of Buddhism. We are not going to talk about that. Let's see the how Buddhism now in this age. Now little bit go back to the history. So Buddhism originated, Buddhism developed, spread out. Yeah, it was now history, and Buddhism was limited within the bhikshus, within the bhikshunis, and within the upashakas and upashikas. They are the four Upanishad where Buddhism were practiced. But nowadays, Buddhism shifted or transformed. I cannot not exactly transform, but spread out from monastic education to the academic education, from monastery to the university. Now we can see Buddhism in being practiced in monastery also, as well as in the university also. So now we have a clear concept: monastic Buddhism and the academic Buddhism. So this way, now currently we see the Buddhism is being spread out and taking the roots and is developing not only in the monastery, not only in the local area, but also to the universities. And there are so many Buddhist universities in the world. For example, Lumbini Buddhist University is one of them. And this Buddhism, now you see currently what we do have. Previously, we used to have only Buddhist masters, bhikshu, bhikshunis. Nowadays, we have Buddhist scholar who are not a monk, who are not a nun, but they are the Buddhist scholar. They are the veteran Buddhist scholars. So this way, time limitation. I came so far away from Nepal and waiting 2 hours for you all. Please bear with me. But we can escape our food because every day we are having food. Why we should have? Why we cannot escape it? Okay. So nowadays we have the spiritual master as well as we have the Buddhist scholars, Buddhist researchers, and in addition to that, now what we do have, you know, smart Buddhism. Now, if you want to know about the Buddhism, you don't. Of course, we should go to the monastery and yeah, take a triple refugee, or we should go to the university. But now many people they on their mobile smartphone they sort out, they visit the many websites, they gather the information from this device. So this is now becoming a popular culture. Even in class also, student may not listen teacher may be speaking something else on the topic, but students might have been using the mobile and trying to get more information what had been taught by more than what had been taught by the teacher. So this way, this now the addition these are the, you know, the science and technology that brought out this smartphone and social medias, websites, you know, and we are using those popular culture. Now the question is that uh, bringing Buddha Dharma to the popular culture. Now question is that now what we should do in this era. Everybody engaged in the social media, everybody handling their smartphone, even though they don't want to have cup of tea, they don't want other things, they're being engaged in the device. So in this era now we have to think, I think the organizer has formulated the concept, the bringing Buddha Dharma to the social, the popular, they have formulated or projected this topic. So here now the issue is that now being a Buddhist, being a Buddhist master, being a Buddhist layman, being a member of Buddhist community organization, now it is our duty to think of how we can take the advantage of this popular culture and how we can bring the Buddhism or Buddha Dharma into the uh, popular culture, and how we can make the Buddhism as a part of the popular culture of this new era, and how we can impart the knowledge to the young generation, because the maximum user of that popular culture are the teenager and the youth, and including the learned uh, and the old generation. So this is the, I think, challenges, and also as well as it is a responsibility to think of how we can bring Buddha Dharma or Buddhism to the popular culture. So here, I think IBC would be one good platform. So IBC can work on that. Why IBC should work on that? It is because many materials about Buddhism available in websites, available in YouTube, available in, you know, people chatting about the Buddhism. But sometimes we have to think of all those materials have been posted in the website. Are they really authentic? Are they really reliable? Are they really uh, posted with the reference to the main Buddhist canonical text? So here is a question. So you may agree with me that sometimes we see about the Buddhism in a website little bit wrong interpretation, misinterpretation, or misunderstanding, deliberately or deliberately. Maybe sometimes people might have posted something about Buddhism deliberately also. So here, that is why. So like an international organization like a IBC should think of the how we can bring the Buddhism into the social media and properly, authentically, and not only IBC. There are so many international organizations. working on propagating the Buddhism. So they should come together and they can work, they can talk, they can work, and they can have a one very good project, long-term project. Through that, we can use the advantage of this popular culture for the propagation of not only for the propagation of Buddhism with the missionary zeal, but for the sake of Bahujana Hitaya, Bahujana Sukhaya. Because Buddha has instructed to the monks, reverend monks, Sarata Vikkhave Charikam, Bahujana Hitaya, Bahujana Sukhaya. Now we have to think about the using and taking the advantage of this social popular culture for the sake of Bodhan Hitaya and Bodhana Sukhaya. If so, then also we can say, okay, IBC, such like IBC and other organization, really now meeting with the popular demand and meeting with the this popular culture. So now it is a need. Yesterday there was also one topic about a need. Here also need. Now we need bringing the dharma to the popular culture, and we should feel we are the responsible to do that. And being a member of Buddhist community, being a member of Buddhist laymen, being a member of Buddhist academic centers, being a member of also IBC and other international organization. So we should take this responsibility to work together and come up with a very dynamic and very worthy project so that we can also meet we can go together with the popular culture. So time has been very much short. I mean, we don't have much time just now, but I want to conclude with the one another point is that the disadvantage of this popular culture. However, we see the advantage of smartphone and the social media, but you all are aware of that the disadvantage of this smartphone and the social media also. So we have to be very much careful about this disadvantage. Ultimately, our goal, being a Buddhist, you know, being a what is the ultimate goal? Our ultimate goal is to follow the sila and practice the meditation. Why we should practice meditation? To attain the wisdom. Whatever we obtain the knowledge, reading and listening, that is not enough. We have to same thing, same truth. We have to realize through the meditation, through the vipassana. Really, this using smartphones helps us to concentrate, to do the meditation. I don't think so. The smartphone will help you to concentrate on to do the practice the meditation. It divert our mind. Pardon? Sometime music and okay, if you can do, yeah, few people can do it, but most of people, just they divert their mind because of the modern electronic device. So it keep us restless. I already gave example. All in the morning, first of all, we may jump on the mobile phone. Oh, what is the message there? Who have sent the email? How many these things are there? So this modern, we have to be very careful about this popular culture. And another thing is that you all know this electronic device release the rays, the waves. It's all about the connecting the waves, and it is we know is this radio these waves are harmful for our health, harmful for our mind, harmful for our nerve system in our body. So on one hand we have to accept the science and technology, we cannot ignore it, but on the other hand we have to be very careful because our ultimate goal is to keep the mind in state of peace, to release the rays of peace. But this kind of electronic device also damage our mind, is damage our nerve system. So this way we have to have to make a balance between the science and technology, and our ultimate goal. We cannot ignore our ultimate goal, the peace of mind. That really, one electronic media, electronic the rays cannot be cause for the peace of the mind. So that way we have to think. And also, we are now addiction. Using smartphone, using the social media is not. We are not only using for the benefit of our mind, but also people may use as being addiction, being addicted, like a drug addict. Similarly, now this smartphone and social media is now becoming addict. So we have to be free from that kind of addict. Though it is a popular culture, but we have to distinguish what is Samma, what is a Mithya, what is Samyak, and what is Mithya. So we have to always think of the Samma, Samyak, and the Mithya. If so we can accept and go with the modern science and technology. It's a kind of my small speech, not really speech. It is a kind of I'm sharing the idea with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nareshman. We gave you 25 minutes, more than double the time, to compensate for the two hours we kept you waiting. I think you have given a good definition of popular culture as engagement, and then smart Buddhism and how it can engage people. Buddhism could engage through popular culture. Our next speaker is Dr. Victor V. He has impressive CV. He has been the president of the Buddhist. He's the president of the Buddhist Gem Fellowship in Malaysia, honorary secretary of IBC, composer of Buddhist music, Dhamma speaker at conferences and universities, and professionally he's also the former chairman of the Tourism Malaysia, Secretary General of the Tourism Ministry Malaysia, former chairman of United Nations World Tourism Organization Program and Budget Committee, and now professor at Faculty of Hospitality, Taylor University in Malaysia. And Dr. Victor V.
Very good morning, Mahasanghas and friends from different parts of the world. I normally have the PowerPoint in front of me, but now the PowerPoint is on the screen, so it's rather difficult for me to let me reposition myself. Okay, this way. Now I will. There are many roles that I play. One of the roles that I used to play is music. I'm also a composer of Buddhist music and have 5 albums that I have produced across time. And the music, I'll mention something about the music that I do. And I have actually, the music that I came up with is actually much earlier than even the Imi. We came up with a very famous album called Metta, right? Music for Dhamma outreach. Okay, can we have, next slide. Okay, now, very often, music is undervalued and its potential has not been recognized by the Buddhist community. This is unfortunate because, thank you so much, that's all I need. This is unfortunate because music can be a very powerful instrument of bringing people to Dhamma. Now, some people may think that music is not profitable or maybe not good for spiritual development. And I remember that in the 70s when I was writing music, and at the meditation center, the people at the meditation center says, I see that you're very devout as a Buddhist, but why are you into music? Because it's not such a good thing to do in music, right? Simply because in terms of Theravada Buddhists, some of them regard music as sensual luxury, and therefore they approach music with some kind of caution. And because if you look at the 8 precepts and the 10 precepts, there is a precept to avoid from dancing, from singing, from music. When you observe the precepts, you have to abstain from all that. Now, the Buddha have also advised against attending musical performances and chanting, or chanting in a manner that's musical, because there is a danger of being too attached to sound. I think during the Buddha's time, there was these comedians who approached the Buddha to say that If they die, are they going to be reborn in the laughing heavens? And the Buddha says, no, they're not going to be reborn in the laughing heavens. In fact, they're going to hell. But I guess that kind of performances do not draw people to Dhamma. They are performances that are pretty awful and pretty vulgar. So maybe that's why the Buddha has given that kind of advice. Now, let us go on to Buddhist chant. A chant is a manner in which the religious scriptures of Buddhism has been preserved. They're committed to oral memory. After the first sermon, about 3 months after the Buddha passed away, they gathered in Rajgir at Satipana caves. 500 arahants got together, organized the teachings, and commit that to memory. And they organized themselves in groups, keep checking on the accuracy of the Dhamma. And for 500 years, for the Pali Tripitaka, it was transmitted orally from teacher to student and remembered and rehearsed. And later on, quite close to the turn of the new millennium, actually, it was recorded on oil leaves at Aluvihara in Sri Lanka. And that's the first time that the scriptures was written down. And after that, the teachings is still committed to memory right up to today. So chanting becomes a very important way of preserving the Dhamma. Now, chanting is best known as a Buddhist music. In Theravada Buddhism, we use a non-musical chanting of the Pali stanzas. But we do know that depending on which traditions of Theravada Buddhism you come from, the chanting could actually be quite musical. Because of the way that you need to pronounce your words, and it falls in certain types of rhythm, and it is very peaceful and very calming. Some of the chants are chanted in such a way that sometimes you get very beautiful gathas. Of course, not very musical, but beautiful notes that you move around that can actually reach the heart. In the case of Mahayana Buddhism, this is slightly different. When they do the chanting, it is accompanied with musical instruments, with percussive instruments, and sometimes they just go into beautiful melodies. So and also in the case of Vajrayana Buddhism, because now you have CDs of mantras that has been accompanied with music. And you know that about the best known chant is the Metta CD that is produced by my fellow country person, Imi Wee. And she actually produced the Metta CDs, and that's probably the best selling CD. Unfortunately, she doesn't get much royalty because everybody copy. In the digital world, you can just copy and get perfect sound. Many people think that the Metta tune came from her, but actually she was a composer. She does the arrangement, she does the singing, but the melody actually came from Myanmar. A friend of mine wanted to popularize. We used to chant this Metta Sutta. It was a Myanmar tune. When we go for Vipassana meditation, at the end of the evening, we chant the Metta, right? And this comes from a Burmese melody. And it was sung to her on a tape, and she used that and she rearranges it, and it is the most famous. Even as you go over to, was it Varanasi? To the airport, they were playing the music. Okay, so but Imi has come up with many other CDs. She's very prolific, but this is by far, I think, the most popular. I think it will live on for generations. I think it will outlive her. The music is beautiful because the tune must have come from the heavens, I think. It's beautiful. It must come from some kind of inspiration. Even when you chant it without the musical instrument, it really touches you. It's beautiful tune. All right. So this is music as found in the different traditions. Now let me talk about how music could be used for Dhamma outreach. Now during the Buddhist time, there was a young man by the name of Srona who wanted to meet the Buddha because the Buddhist teachings have permeated, gone through from teacher to teacher, wandering in different directions. And we know that Sona was a musician, and he arrived at Jetavana Grove in the evening and didn't have actually a place to put up with. And the Buddha says, okay, Sona, what you can do is you can actually stay in my kuti, but the front part, while the Buddha was actually resting in the perfume chamber. And in the morning, because if you're a musician in the presence of the Blessed One, inspiration will just well up in your heart. And he started chanting the gathas in such beautiful musical voice. And after he's done that, the Buddha actually complimented Sona for his beautiful voice. Sona, all right? Later on, you know that Sona, when he did meditation, he put too much effort and his feet bled, you know that? And the Buddha asked him to slow down. Sona balanced energy with concentration. And of course, he became an arahant. Now, according to the Lotus Sutra, beautiful heavenly music adorns the places where the Buddha preaches the Dhamma. Now, actually being a musician, I do know that there are different types of music. There are some types of music that can actually elevate the mental state and lift you up, not to nirvana, but to the heavenly state, certainly. Uplift you, inspire you, and bring you almost like out of this world. But many types of music these days actually debases, it actually brings you down. So it is a choice of music. What kind of music that you have that can touch people and bring them to Dhamma? And this is what I have done. Actually, I started composing music since the 1970s. You might be surprised to know that. Huh? Later on, I'll show you some example. And sometimes when people ask me, why do you write music, Buddhist music? I tell them that I know of many people who have come to the Dhamma because of Buddhist hymns, but I do not know of one person who stopped becoming a Buddhist because of Buddhist hymns. And it's very clear. One thing about music is that sometimes when we speak the Dhamma through the power of words, it can actually do wonderful things, right? Power of words. But can you imagine when the power of words is coupled with music? It is even more powerful because music can actually touch the heart, while the words touch the mind, maybe sometimes even the heart. And you combine them, and that is the power of Buddhist songs. Now, the other thing is that music is a social activity because it can be done together. When we make music, when we sing music, we do it together. And you have to listen to each other because I also organize choirs, group singers, and you got to listen to each other and you put in your input and you blend and you work almost as if it's one voice singing together. So you do it as a team. It's a teamwork and you have to be with one another until you begin to think almost like one person. And that's how you sing together in harmony. So it is something that you can do. Sorry. How come we are going this way? Okay, sorry. So we have to do it together in order to enhance mutual experience and enjoyment. We make it music together, and this is a wonderful form of outreach, bringing people together, bringing the young people together. How do you bring young people to the Dhamma talk? Ask them to sit down and listen to Dhamma talk. How many people will come for a Dhamma talk? Even if sometimes, unless you have a very famous teacher who comes with lots of stories, lots of jokes, then they'll come. But if you have a musical performance, they will come for the musical performance. And in that musical performance, you teach Dhamma. They listen to Dhamma because they want to listen to the songs. And if it's a good Buddhist song, every of those songs will have meanings behind it. And you can explain the Dhamma from the songs. And that is what I had done previously when I used to go to the universities. I was used to carry a guitar. You might not know that. But I play the guitar. I'll string that on my motorbike, go to the university, I will sing a little, tell the Dhamma from the songs, and then give the proper Dhamma talk and end with the songs. So when I give a talk, the university halls normally very well attended. That's what I do during my younger days. And it is a powerful means of outreach, and it touches the heart where mere words cannot. And the music, if can be used as a Dhamma door, it is a power of attraction for the young to get them to Dhamma. So why are we not using music as a form of Dhamma door? Let me just talk to you about, because we want some concrete examples, let me give you an example of the organization that I come from. I'm a founding member of Buddhist Fellowship. We've been around for over 3 decades. And this is our logo. And our motto is growing people, inspiring the future. So you give opportunities for growth, for spiritual growth, and also growth in different areas, right? We also run like public speaking, things like that, and inspire the future. You inspire the mind so that they can do Dhamma work. This is what we stand for, the BGF. These are some, very quickly, these are the areas of work that we do. We have spiritual development. Those are the activities that we have. Dhamma propagation, youth development, Buddhist education, where we have young kids and teens. I'm going to talk about that. Special interest groups, Dhamma camps for campus students. Number 5, fellowship, welfare and counseling services. We train counselors for the last 24 years. We run free telephone service at the BGF. And we have publications and research, published books, CDs, online resources on talks, training and so on. Now, this is creative performing arts, right? That is me actually playing the guitar. And since the 1970s, I have actually put together this book, over 100 pages of Buddhist hymns. Actually, if you look at these books, many of the songs are actually, I wrote those songs. This is a book of Buddhist poems, and I put many of the songs to music, and some other friends also do that. And I also started a group called the Wayfarers. So far, we've got 5 albums: Moments of Inspiration, The Sunrise Comes, Nirvana Sweet Release, A Light in the Darkness, and Guardian of the Sasana. 5 albums. They're all English songs. And one of the songs that we have is called the Bodhisattva, a being that devotes himself to the attainment of enlightenment. Okay? It says something like, let me be like a white lotus that opens up in the stream of samsara. May the dew that lies on my lotus petals reflect the mercy of Dhamma. Let the love in my lotus heart transform of every wrath, greed, and lies that pass my way. And let my petals softly fold when loss and sorrow have been drained away, that I may reclaim the bliss of nirvana. As a can we have the music on, please? No. That one, please. Music, yeah. Okay. Let me a pure white lotus be, unfolding in samsara stream. Let all the good of misery be gathered in my little dream. That is you that started on each white radiant God brings light. The mercy of the that is their place to go. Let every wave that tumbles down their kettles lump of rock repair to lotus roots of dusty ground in my compassion's bounty share. Let every spark of vengeance roll round lotus tops and white, and greed and love transform our world in lotus heart and shrine. Music. Where each drop had. Okay, thank you. That is how I sounded like many years ago. That came from my first album, also the first track. And that was me singing. I composed the music as well. It's called Bodhisattva. All right. Then we have a musical group called the iJams. I'm not sure if there's enough time because Dr. Kalinga is keeping the time on. But this is a new group of people at BGF that composed their own music. And they have come up with 2 albums. Maybe if you want, we just hear a sample. This is called The Dhamma Shines in Me. As a sample, can you please have the music on? I hope you don't mind. It's like using a little bit of your time, but the Buddha taught the noble truth to me. I see reality, and with these truths, the middle path I choose. The Dharma shines in me. I'll strive for freedom, for sweet release. In me, all craving cease. And so I'm here to share all that I know. The Dharma is innermost grows. I'll strive for freedom, for sweet release. In me all craving cease. And so I'm here to share all that I know. The Dharma in us grows. The Dharma that I see, it shines so bright in me. All right, so you can see from an example of a song like that, it uplifts because of the words, because of the time of music. This is actually composed entirely by our members, young members, the youth, and also sung by them, right? Now, let me just go very quickly to our Buddhist education. I am very conscious about the time now. How do we communicate? How do we get young people interested in Dhamma studies? Because if you put them in the class, just give them Dhamma straight, you will not get people coming for your classes. All right, so let me just talk about the GEM kids and the GEM teens that we run at our center. And we have what we call the special interest group. Okay, now actually growing the young into good Buddhists with positive values of love and compassion, gratitude and respect, discipline, and a strong affinity for the Buddha Dhamma. And you need to make the learning of the Dhamma interactive and fun, such as doing their own movies. They have done 2 movies, the children, of the life of the Buddha. One was this Angulimala, as well as participating in the sharing of alms, giving of alms to the monks. Now, because of our center, it's a 4-story building, and the numbers of students have actually doubled, have grown. So in order to accommodate the students, what we do is that we break them into 2 sessions. So like 8:30 to 10:30, the first session, one group will go for the Dhamma studies. The second group will go upstairs in order to do special interest group. And then they come and meet for puja, half an hour, and then they switch. The second group will do Dhamma studies, first group will be the SIG. Now, what is the SIG like? SIG will do Buddhist music, Buddhist art and craft, speech and drama, like doing choral reading, and also living skills like cooking. Even the boys learn how to cook brownies and making mooncakes. So it's really fun for the kids, learning first aid, learning gardening. Okay, now the SIG is to supplement Buddhist education where the Dhamma teachers lack preparation time or the expertise to handle. And the teachers will handle the cultural aspects of Buddhism, preparing the child and teens for festivals and Buddhist celebrations. So these are the kind of things that children actually do like to participate in Chinese New Year, Wesak Day, Mooncake Festival, and so on. And they have a monthly musical performance. So they learn how to make music, they put up performance, developing their own self-confidence, a sense of participation amongst the students. And they have, at the end of the year, their concert and graduation, all right? And these are some examples, training for 1 or 2 songs to be performed in public before a Dhamma talk. So you see our kids in action. And this is a monthly musical performance that they have. Children of various ages sing, play percussions in front of the Buddhist public. And on Wesak Day, they have a drama, One Night in Tokyo. The kids, they produce themselves, deal with the narrators and all that, all right? And also Buddhist art, Wesak Day. They paint their favorite Buddhist animal and plants in a certain way. These are the work of the children, arts and crafts. These are between the ages of 10 to 12. And on Wesak Day, we also, we are a society, we're not a temple. So sometimes we use Wesak to raise funds. So the children and the parents come to make little bouquets of flowers. We got a florist to show how to make bouquets. And these bouquets, people could get 30 ringgit and you put them on the altar. So the children themselves are involved in doing the floral arrangements, both girls and boys. So they're learning how to do floral arrangements. And this is the year-end graduation where they have stage drama, singing, short movie. They produce their own movie at our center, and also choral reading as an exciting way to end the year. So this is what we have at our center. This is just to share how we bring activities to the young and make it as part of the popular culture. With that, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. V. Sorry, I have to rush because we have to keep time. Others, it's very interesting stuff. You gave another good practical example of what he said was popular culture, engaging people through. So, by the way, before I introduce her, I also want to mention, I mentioned about Annie Choing. Actually, we invited her to come and give a keynote speech here today. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it. So maybe our next event, she can come and perform. Now I would like to introduce Madhushree Chaudrey. She's very much interested in working in areas where religion interact with culture and special focus on Buddhism. Madhushree is the secretary of the cultural and philosophical platform of Artiste, and also the assistant secretary of the organization of 125 years standing called Bengal Buddhist Association, looking after publications and cultural activities. Madhushree Chaudrey. In fact, I have been following her cultural programs on Facebook, and that's where I got the idea to invite her here and consulted with Ashok. And I've been quite impressed with the type of work you have been doing.
Venerable monks, distinguished dignitaries on dais, and my beloved Dhamma brothers and sisters, a very good. We are just at the juncture of afternoon and morning. A very good morning to all of you. Today, I'm going to present a video documentation of the Buddhist cultural heritage of Bengal. And in doing so, I have selected the very popular and the mystic songs of Bengal. By Bengal, I mean the songs which are popular in both Bangladesh and India, the undivided Bengal, because our culture is almost very similar. So these mystic songs, which were originated from the earliest poem songs in Bengali, and those were composed by the Buddhist monk poets or Siddhacharyas. And these songs have been discovered by the famous Buddhist scholar Mahamohopadhyay Hariprasad Shastri from the Royal Library of Nepal in the 20th century. So before my presentation, it will be a video presentation. I want to say something on the Buddhist cultural heritage of Bengal. As we all, is it working? Yes. As we all know that ancient Bengal was a seat of Buddhist imperialism, art and culture. Buddhism indeed is a basis of Bengal's linguistic and cultural heritage, because just now I have told that we have the earliest poem song written in Bengali language, which were composed by the Buddhist monk poets, the Siddhacharyas. When Buddhism began to decline in different parts of India, it took its last shelter in Bengal. And we have travelers like Fa Hien, Huyen Sang. They have recorded innumerable informations about Bengal's Buddhism past. And they have the pilgrims, the travelers have longed to explore the Bengal's Buddhist monasteries, monuments, chaityas, the viharas, and other ancient ruins. So if we study only the archaeological evidences to reveal Buddhism's past, I think that we may arrive at incomplete conclusions, because unless the Buddhist literature, the text, the sculpture, the paintings, and our Bengal's indigenous culture, that is the music, the dance, and the folk theatres, are also studied together and in a comparative way, we cannot understand the true wisdom of Buddha. Actually, when Buddhism originated in Bengal, there is no as such historical evidence, but we have seen that Buddhism flourished in Bengal in the 7th century. And we have a lot of Buddhist scholars who were originally from Bengal and they have acclaimed popularity outside Bengal. To name a few, there is Shilabhadra, who was who was in charge of the Nalanda monastery, and Huen Sang came to study under him. We have Atisha Sri Gyana Dipankara. Both were from Bangladesh, and they converted Tibet into Bengali Buddhism, and they enriched Tibetan literature by writing in both Sanskrit and in Tibet. And of the two forms of Buddhism that prevailed in Bengal, that is the Mahayana and Hinayana, Mahayana forms are the most accepted ones. And in Mahayana, there are several mystic forms, and these Buddhist monk poets from the 10th to 12th century, they practiced the Vajrayana form of mysticism. So today in my presentation, you will see some songs with English subtitles and the song corresponding to the mystic song of Bengal with the original Charya poem. And because the reason why I have brought these songs in this forum is that these mystic singers of today's mystic singers, namely the Baul, Fakir, and Darvish Shai, and those of the Charya composers, they are both. We can say that they are the pioneers of mindful communicators. They are the great sources of mass communication because they used to raise voices against social injustice. In their poems, we see their day-to-day life, and they used to address the people. In the apparent layer, we see all these things. They are raising their voice against the social injustice, and underneath, there are some metaphysical issues, some philosophical aspects which are very similar in the use of allegory and metaphors with those of today's Baul, Fakir, and Darvish Shai. Another thing I want to mention that the cultural heritage of Bengal is incomplete without the works of Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore, because he was an ardent follower of Buddhism. And so I have also brought a glimpse of some of the Tagore's works. And I'm very happy to say that this year on the Vesak Day, a program was organized from the Ministry of Culture and IBC, and that was presented in front of our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. So I have the glimpses of that Tagore's works also. And as Shantam requested me, I may try here, though there is no as such a formal stage, but I'll try to recite from the original Chaudhry poem with its English translation, and I want to reveal it through the language of dance before going to my presentation. Shall I do it?
Sindhu parar
I'll just have a look. No, it's not different. Can you hear me? Ka aturvara panchavidal chanchalatiye koichaka. The body is like a fine tree with 5 branches. Darkness enters into the realm, into the restless mind. Veera Karya Mahasuha Pariman, Luri Bhanai Guru Puchyajan. Sara Samahya Prahikarya, Sukha Dukhate Vichit Madhya. Let me see first. Strengthen the quantity of bread, please, says me. Learn from asking your Guru, why should one meditate? Surely one dies out of happiness and unhappiness. Anyway, Chanda Kabandha Karanaka Patirasa, Sunupaka Giti, Neguru Pasa. Bhanai Lui, Amne Samne Bitha, Dhamana Chamana Veni, Konita Vaita. Set aside binding and fastening in false robe. Embrace the wings of the void. Louis says, I have seen this in my meditation. Inhalation and exhalation are seated in each beat. This is the Chaudhry language.
বন্ধু যে খেপারে সিন্ধু পারের বন্ধু যে তিনি পার করিবেন দরিয়া তুমি জানো না সেই বন্ধুর বাড়ি আছে কোন জায়গায় ও সে বন্ধু আবার মুর্শিদপুরে লুকিয়ে থাকে ও সে বন্ধু ও সে বন্ধু আবার মুর্শিদপুরে লুকিয়ে থাকে সে রসুলপুরে খেলা খেলা তুমি জানো না সেই বন্ধুর বাড়ি আছে কোন জায়গায় নামাজ রোজা পার্বণ পূজা যাক যজ্ঞ ব্রত নামাজ রোজা পার্বণ পূজা যাক যজ্ঞ ব্রত সবার শুদ্ধ রিপুবদ্ধ যত রকম পরিশ্রম তোমার নজর কোটায় খিল পড়িলে আর আসুক মিছা গেলে তখন নবীতার দরজা খুলে তখন নবীতার দরজা খুলে সেই তো তার দিদার পায় তুমি জানো না সেই তুমি জানো না সেই
ও নদী দেখিয়া পরানো কান্দিয়া যায় হায় হায় হেন সোনার নৌকা জলে ভাইসা যায় হায় হায় হেন সোনার নৌকা জলে ভাইসা যায় হায় হায় হেন সোনার নৌকা জলে ভাইসা যায় নদী দেখিয়া পরানো কান্দিয়া যায় হায় হায় হেন সোনার নৌকা জলে ভাইসা যায় হায় হায় হেন সোনার নৌকা জলে ভাইসা যায়
ওই না নদীর তিনটি কোনা ওই না নদীর তিনটি কোনা ঝলকে ঝলকে উঠছে ফেনা ঝলকে ঝলকে উঠছে ফেনা আবার ওই পারেতে আছে মহা আদালত খানা নদী দেখিয়া পরানো কান্দিয়া যা হায় হায় হেন সোনার নৌকা চলে
নবী মোর পরশমণি নবী মোর সোনার খনি নবী নাম জপ হেদে রাম নবী নাম জপ হেদে রাম সেই তো জাহানের ধ্বনি নবী মোর পরশমণি নবী মোর সোনার খনি নবী নাম জপ হেদে রাম নবী নাম জপ হেদে রাম সেই তো জাহানের ধ্বনি নবী মোর পরশমণি সে নামের সুর ধরিয়া পাখি যায় গান গাহিয়া সে নামের সুর ধরিয়া পাখি যায় গান গাহিয়া সে নামে মত্ত হইল মোলায় আমার কাদের গলি সে নামে মত্ত হইল মোলায় আমার কাদের গলি নবী মোর পরশমণি নবী মোর সোনার খনি নবী নাম জপ হেদে রাম নবী নাম জপ হেদে রাম সেই তো জাহানের ধ্বনি নবী মোর পরশমণি
আরে ধরতে গেলে ধরা দেয় না তারে ধরি ধরি মনে করি ধরতে গেলে ধরা দেয় না দেখেছি রূপসাগরে মনের মানি কাটাশোনা দেখেছি রূপসাগরে মনের মানি কাটাশোনা তারে ধরি ধরি মনে করি ধরতে গেলে ধরা দেয় না তারে ধরি ধরি মনে করি ধরতে গেলে ধরা দেয় না দেখেছি রূপসাগরে মনের মানি কাটাশোনা দেখেছি রূপসাগরে মনের মানি কাটাশোনা দাদির সঙ্গে এসেছি কতই রঙে বহুদিন দাদির সঙ্গে এসেছি কতই রঙে জনের সঙ্গে হতো দেখা শোনা সেই সুজনের সঙ্গে হতো দেখা শোনা এখন লোকে বলে বলুক লোকে মন্দ বিরহে তার প্রাণ বাঁচে না এখন বলে বলুক লোকে মন্দ বিরহে তার প্রাণ বাঁচে না দেখেছি সাগরে মনের মানুষ দেখেছি সাগরে মনের মানুষ তাদের ধরি ধরি মনে করি ধরতে গেলে মনা দেয় না থরি থরি মনে করি বলতে গেলে ধরা যায় না দেখেছি দেখেছি দুঃসাগরে মনের মানুষ দেখো না দেখেছি দুঃসাগরে মনের মানুষ দেখো না প্রতিকার জীবনারে ডুবে যাও দুঃসাগরে প্রতিকার জীবনারে ডুবে যাও দুঃসাগরে বিরলে বসে করো তার দুঃসাগো না বিরলে বসে করো তার দুঃসাগো না ও একবার করবে পেলে একবার করতে পেলে মনের মানুষ বলে আর দিও না ও একবার করতে পেলে মনের মানুষ বলে আর দিও না দেখেছি দুঃসাগরে মনের মানুষ দেখো না দেখেছি দুঃসাগরে মনের ও তারে ধরি ধরি ও তারে ধরি ধরি মনে করি ধরতে গেলে ধরা যায় না ধরি ধরি মনে করি ধরতে গেলে ধরা যায় না দেখেছি দেখেছি দুঃসাগরে মনের মানুষ দেখো না দেখেছি দুঃসাগরে মনের মানুষ
Okay, thank you very much, Madhushree, for that. I really love this bowl music. But the challenge would be if the music beat is too catchy, you may miss the words. Sometimes they will start dancing to it. No. Okay, now the thing is because we won't have time for discussion, but in the afternoon session, we'll be taking up the proposal of an Island Arts and Music Festival when we revisit these issues again. Now, I would like to take this opportunity before I wrap up this session to launch a project of Lotus Communication Network. It's a song project where we have recorded 6 songs using the Virindu beat, basically, which we call Buddhist rap songs, taking ideas from Singalovada Sutra, Panchasila, and putting this into Sinhala lyrics without using the Pali. And also, we haven't used the word Buddhist or Buddhism anywhere in the lyrics. We recorded the 6 songs more than a year ago, but I didn't want to release it until now because I thought we need to make a sort of MTV style clip, a video clip with English subtitles so it could go over the language barrier. So it's not an IBC project, it's a Lotus Communication Network project. So I would like to take this opportunity to launch it. And I must also confess here, I got the inspiration for this from the Muslim Nasheed music revolution in Malaysia, which was one of the case studies I did for my PhD 10 years ago, where they took the Nasheed poetry, Islamic poetry from Middle East, translated into Malay, and using the Rabana, which is very similar, and using Malay rhythms, which is very similar to Virindu rhythms, they started recording those songs in groups. And then one group called Rehan got Warner Music as their recording label. And it became a huge hit. And they are still, until today, their first album is the biggest selling album in Malaysia's history. And it has grown into a movement of young people, both men and women, forming Nasheed groups in university schools. And it came at a time when Malay Muslims were drifting away from Islam. And this has to a certain extent been able to get them back into the fold because they see it as cool music, cool Islamic music, and they see Islam as cool. So I thought, why cannot we also do it in Buddhism? And this is the result of it, what I'm trying to do. And when I first was discussing it in a forum, some people said, oh, I'm trying to introduce a Bajau Buddhism to Sri Lanka. Bajau means party Buddhism. So I have to argue we are not going to sing this in temples. It will go on television, hopefully, and radio, and it will be in the popular culture. We are not planning to take it into temples. We'll still have the Pali chanting and the gathas and all that there. Okay.
සසර දුකයි භයංකරයි දීත කරයි කලන විතුරු සැපය විසක සැපයක් ඇඳ සැකයි මිතුරු වෙසින් පවිටු තන නිරයේ දොර ඇරතේවි පොචේ පරම මිතුරු තුමු දුකකදී ළඟ නොහිටීවි සසර දුකයි භයංකරයි දීත කරයි කලන විතුරු සැපය විසක සැපයක් ඇඳ සැකයි කනබොන පළඳින හැම විදි සමාජ ඇසුරින් ලැබෙන්නේ හොඳ වැඩමින් නරක වැඩ ඇතැන් මිතුරු උජ වඩන්නේ සසර දුකයි භයංකරයි දීත කරයි කලන විතුරු සැපය විසක සැපයක් ඇඳ සැකයි සසර පුරා කලන ගුණෙන් දුතු මිතුරන් හමු වේවා පව්පින් අදහන ලෝකෙක මගේ උපතක් සිදු වේවා සසර දුකයි භයංකරයි දීත කරයි කලන විතුරු සැපය විසක සැපයක් ඇඳ සැකයි
Yeah, okay. That's idea. I will encourage some feedback about it. There's 5 others to come, and I'm looking for sponsors who could sponsor maybe $200 to get it edited. But if some of the TV channels in Sri Lanka wants to do it as a sponsored thing free of charge, I'm willing to work with you to put it together. I can script it. And some of the pictures I took all the pictures are from my collection of video and pictures I have taken. And a couple of pictures I have pinched from Humala's video you may have noticed from Lao University you did. And I have also spoken to Madhushree about doing a similar thing using the power songs, which you have already done to a certain extent. Okay, so I think we'll wrap this up because in later in the afternoon session we'll be discussing the Nalanda Arts and Music Festival proposal, and we will revisit these issues again. So thank you very much for the panel. Very interesting presentations and ideas which were floated.